Hi, fellow traders. Yes, I am back. Finally back from my vacation, or my last other vacation. It's kind of like I've been on vacation for the last 2 months. Even I've been in and out, but July and August, those are the times where you really need to take vacation. The market is not 100% there. There are opportunities. You can make money, but it is a struggle. It is a grind, and most people are gone. Um, and even though I was here, a lot of times my mind wasn't 100% on what I was doing. It was, what do I need to do to make sure everything is in place. I don't like to go on vacation and not have everything I need, not be prepared. The house is not right. Um, it's just a lot of things. And then going overseas, worrying about renting a car in a foreign country. Um, the places that we stayed, we were at two different places. It was just a lot of things that just stay on your mind that really affect, um, your day to day operations. And, I realized I just hadn't been here. There's just so much that goes into all of the little things that I did. And actually, next year and beyond, I'm going to do the same thing. Just these are the months that I'm going to focus on taking whatever trips we're going to take, because, the market is slow. And it is a good time to learn. You got to exercise patience, and all of that. But it's also the best time to take breaks, here and there. I'm not going to take, all 2 months off. That's not feasible for me at this point. But, the trips and everything will get planned around the slow months. It's the only smart thing to really do. But I am back, thankfully, survived all of that, and we're ready to get going. Everything's falling back into place. So I can get back locked in and get engaged here these couple of weeks before Labor Day. Because after Labor Day, I'm ready for that charge. Through to the rest of the year, just like we did last year. I'm looking to, a carbon copy of last year here. Because sometimes it seems like you're not making any progress. You're not moving forward like you feel you should. Then doubt and frustration creeps in. It starts to affect your confidence and break it down. And you just start to kind of fall apart. And then you start looking at others that may have started alongside of you. And it seems like their trading has taken off, that they're not struggling to find winning trades and, or let their winners run and cut their losses early. And really, you don't know whether they're just saying that or whether it's actually true. You can't compare yourself to others. It's not that you're discounting what they're saying. It's not about you judging them. It's about you judging yourself. And sometimes you have to go back and look at where you started, where you came from, how you looked in the beginning, to see just how far you've come. You can't compare yourself to others to determine your growth. You have to compare yourself to you now. You have to compare your now to where you were and who you were when you started. You have to grade yourself based on your personal growth. And when I was teaching the last several years, I was trying to develop and advocate a system that allowed me to grade students based on their personal progress, not versus some generic standard across the board that we expected all students to make. Because students are individuals. They're more individualistic now than they were 20 years ago. And we're the same. As we grew, as we changed with the the world that we live in, we became more individualistic as we grew and we developed our own likes, dislikes, what motivates us, what doesn't motivate us. In our trading, we need to gauge ourselves based on our personal growth. We need to have our own personal timeline. So sometimes we got to go back and look at where we came from and compare ourselves to where we are now. And I get a lot of emails from traders who are saying, I've been doing this for 3 months. I'm still losing money. What's wrong? And so I'll take some time out and say, hey, look, let's go back and see how much were you losing? What did your trading look like when you first started as opposed to now? And when they look at the numbers, they realize, hey, I may not be making money, but I'm losing 3 times less than what I did when I first started. You're moving in the right direction. Now, 3 months from now, you should be making, a decent amount of money every week or every month on average. So you have to look at your personal growth. When I get down and out sometimes and I'm like, I should be doing better than this. It's not the market. Okay, the market is going to be it. It's going to be tough. There are times where things just aren't going to work. You can't blame the market for your shortcomings. I can't blame the market, even though I want to, and sometimes I try. At the end of the day, when I sit back and I look at what I did, it's not the market's fault. It's my dumb ass that made the stupid mistakes. And I can't blame that. But when I go back and look at where I was then, here's a picture of me. This is my second summer trading. And I look at what I have now, and I'm like, hey, this is all right, let me go back. Yeah, I look at where I am now. This is where I am now. I've got that same desk, the very same desk, but it's filled out now. And look at where I am now as opposed to where I was, a year and a half in. And I'm there that summer frustrated because I feel I should be making enough money to where I can start trading for a living. Okay, but that wasn't reality. Okay, I had to look at where did I start? Where did I come from? And I could take it a step further because back then I was frustrated because I wasn't where I wanted to be. But I had to go back and say, okay, last summer, where was I? And this is a picture of me that first summer, trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. I had 2 cheap laptops, like $200 laptops. I had those cheap monitors, which I still had my second summer, but I just added an extra one. Bought a new laptop. But then I realized, look, I was able, from here last summer to here, I was able to buy a desk, buy a new monitor, albeit a little $25 state surplus monitor. But I was able to invest in a real good laptop. So all of this I made from my trading from the year before, when all of this was funded out of my pocket. Where all of this I funded out of my pocket. All of the additions I funded out of my trading. And this desk I still have today. This is a symbol, and I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of it. But it is a symbol of where I come from, because this was the very first thing I bought out of my trading profit. So it holds a special place. Now, one thing I want you guys to understand as well, before we get into what I've done the last week or so. When we're learning how to trade, we have to look at this and understand that we are learning something brand new to us. Now, some things may seem familiar, the numbers and all of that and the math, it's familiar to us. So we're not really starting from scratch on a lot of levels, but we have to go through a progression. It's just like when we were learning, as kids, we didn't know how to write. We started scribbling. We would scribble on our walls, on tables, sometimes on our parents. We didn't know paper was where we needed to write. But eventually they taught us that. We started learning how to write shapes, started learning how to write pieces of a letter. We put it together. I was looking at my son's papers from kindergarten the other day, and I remembered how frustrated I was because he was still writing letters backwards. Some letters he would write backwards. But when I looked at the year before where he was writing some letters backwards, now some of the letters he was writing backwards, he wasn't, and he was putting more words together. So he was making progress, but I was focusing on the wrong stuff. I should have been focusing on his progression. And as a teacher, I should have known that. But it's like when it's your son, you look at things differently. But in trading, we have to look at ourselves that way, that we are progressing. But we have to look at each, stage of our progression. And if we get to one stage where we really didn't progress, then that's when we need to sit back and assess what are we doing? What am I doing different now than I did back in this phase or this part of or phase in my trading? And then work on that and then turn around and start moving forward. This is not a it's not a sprint. This is a marathon. And we got to keep going. Stop and get some water. Stop, turn around. When things get tough, turn around, look to see how far we've come. And use that as motivation to keep us going. All right, so let's take a look at what I did last week. Didn't do much, but I'm really, really impressed. Well, not impressed, but just happy I was able to take a trade overseas. That was one of the things that I really wanted to do, is to take a trade overseas. That's something that I had fantasized about for years. And even though the internet was bad, it was really bad where we were. We were in Middle Caicos, which is a really remote place. Only about 200 people actually live there. And I was surprised we even had some semblance of internet. But we did. It was just really sketchy. And I was able to take a trade. And I was really excited about this. This was a opening range breakdown. And just really nailed it. I couldn't really ride it out like I wanted it to, but it worked out great. So ended up, our typical 100 shares here. 300 shares. And, really worked it out. Really had a good time. So making $167.27 in a foreign land, I was on cloud nine. Trading small. I wasn't gonna trade big. I thought about opening up Speed Trader and trying to nail something, but I didn't do it. Stuck to the Sure Trader deal, did what I needed to do, and made it happen. So that was a lot of fun. Also, one thing that came out of this was um, the way the light was coming in. I had to use sunlight. I couldn't see the dark charts, so I had to make these things white. And I kind of think I might like this better. I don't know. I have to wait and see. I haven't changed anything back at home yet. You'll see in a minute, but that was a lot of fun. You know, we caught the opening range breakdown here right after this opening candle. Caught it on the breakdown, you know, and it did just like it usually does. We got a little move down. It kind of caught itself after the profit taking or the sell off, and then here we started back again. Was able to peace out, and I was really pleased with it. So came back on Thursday. Didn't trade on Wednesday. It was just a real, or did I trade this Wednesday? Hell, I don't even remember anymore. That's just how bad, how crazy this week was. But caught this Walmart, and I'm thinking I felt I was really patient, being that I kind of waited for it to crack this. There really wasn't, okay, this was the low that I was looking at pre-market. These were just too far away. You know, we gapped up, and then this was just, you know, I usually ignore these. And I look at it when we have these huge wicks to the downside. But I was looking at this as my pre-market low. So once we cracked this a little bit, that's when I got short. And it actually popped up on me and ended up stopping me out. And then I get back in thinking that, okay, now we're established. We held this level a little bit, then we sold off. Did not follow through. I got a little stubborn and pissed off here and should have taken, probably should have taken it off, but I didn't, and went up and let it stop me out. And then I decided that, hey, I'm just going to do the opposite of what I would normally do. Like here, I would normally short this, and I'm like, I'm just going to buy it. I was at lunch, just kind of, irritated with the morning, and damn if it didn't work out. So here I'm saying, maybe I just need to do the opposite of what I think this stock is going to do. But, that's just one of the dumb things that we go through. Obviously that's not a strategy, but it's one of the dumb things that we think about sometimes when things aren't going our way, when we get frustrated and, we feel like we're just stuck in a rut and we're not looking at the big picture. We're just looking at that day. And, I got that tunnel vision and I started just looking at that day, and it just kind of took me into a whole nother direction. But Friday turned out to be a little okay. We just didn't get to follow through on this. And again, I gave up on this a little bit too early. I just got frustrated. Kind of remnants from the day before of just things not working out, not going according to plan. And it's not that I picked the wrong stock this time, because it did make the move. There were other stocks on the watch that made better moves, but I wasn't there. Mentally, I was not engaged. I wasn't mentally engaged the whole week back. As I went back and I looked at it, it was, I just wasn't there. And I looked at the last 2 months, and I wasn't 100% locked in, 100% engaged because of everything I had going on. And that's normal. That's normal for us. But what I need to do is realize it and, trade accordingly. And I didn't. So I managed my risk throughout these last 2 months. I didn't lose anything, but I haven't gained much either. And, but that's the positive I have to look at this. And that's really the most important lesson that I want to teach new traders, is that things may not be going your way, because there are people that are trying to trade that are working, they have a family, they've got all of these things pulling on them. The key is, no matter what you're going through, if you manage your risk, you're going to limit your losses. You may even gain a couple of dollars here and there through this whole experience. But you learn from it. You learn how to manage it. You learn how to deal with it. And you move forward. You grow from that. And that's what this is all about. So not really a whole lot to brag about these last couple of weeks, other than we managed our risk. We managed not to lose, but to gain a couple of dollars. And we're going to take that as a positive and move as we go into, this new phase in the market. Once we get through Labor Day and we start to get some more players coming back in, I think we're going to have some fun, especially if we continue with these ups and downs with talks of a trade war and, everything else that's going on politically. It might be a lot of fun. So that's going to do it for me today. Just kind of give you an idea of what I've been thinking about. A little bit of trades that I did take. So we're going to go after it hot and heavy. We're going to be moving forward, see if we can finish this year out strong. We're going to have a new focus, just like last year on the fourth quarter, because I think that really helped us end our year strong. So we're going to do the same thing this year. So you guys stay tuned for that. All right, guys, take it easy, and I will see you first thing in the morning.